You are welcome to yet another episode of HN What's Your Say? The #1 listening show, where we discuss real issues with real people like you. We are still featuring R. Kelly. Real name Robert Sylvester Kelly. Also known as the R&B King. Today I want us to pause. Pause for just a moment and carefully reflect on what we have all seen and heard regarding the New York appeal hearing of Robert Sylvester Kelly. Anyone who has taken the time, even just a little time to carefully listen to the words spoken in that courtroom will inevitably find themselves asking a very simple, yet deeply troubling question: why is R. Kelly still in prison? Why, after all the facts have been laid bare? Why, after the law itself has been explained with such clarity? Why, after his attorney Jennifer Bonjean carefully and meticulously outlined the legal realities, the inconsistencies and the overreaches of the charges? Why, after all this, is this man still behind bars? Think about it. From Bonjean's argument, even a child could see the truth. Yes, even a toddler. Someone with no legal training, no education and no advanced understanding of complex statutes would quickly grasp the reality of this situation. The reality that R. Kelly is in fact not guilty of the charges that were imposed on him. Let's talk about those charges. We are told that this is about racketeering. We are told that this is about trafficking. We are told that this is about forced labor. Big words. Scary words. Words that paint a terrifying picture in the public's mind. But when we strip away the headlines, when we remove the emotional manipulation, when we simply look at the actual facts, the actual conduct and the actual evidence, what are we left with? We are left with something that sounds not only inapplicable but truly bizarre. Because the only action, the only real action that R. Kelly was ever involved in was being in relationships. Yes, relationships. Loving relationships. Relationships with women who were willing participants, women who shared their time, their emotions and their affection with him. Relationships that, as is often the case in life, eventually came to an end. And that is the crux of the matter. It is not uncommon. In fact, it is entirely ordinary that relationships sometimes end on a sad note. Anyone listening right now knows this. You have lived it. I have lived it. We all have. And sometimes when that end comes, the pain is so deep, and the disappointment so sharp that one or both parties walk away bitter, resentful and feeling scorned. But here is the pressing question. Should men be made to pay for every relationship that goes bad in their lifetime? Think about that. Is it now a crime? A literal crime to break up with a woman? Should a man be punished because a woman he once loved now feels hurt, now feels angry and now seeks revenge? And more importantly, should our government, the system that is supposed to uphold justice, fairness and truth, be lending its power to that revenge? Because when we look at R. Kelly's situation, that is exactly what we see. The picture becomes even clearer when we ask ourselves, were these women simply acting on personal pain? Or were they being used? Used as pawns in a much bigger and much darker game? And if so, then by whom? Could it be Sony? Could it be the very industry that once profited so greatly from R. Kelly's talent, his creativity and his success, but later decided he was no longer useful? Could these women have been manipulated, guided and positioned to play a role in a malicious agenda crafted by those who had something to gain from his downfall? We may never know the full truth of that hidden side. But what we do know, without a shadow of doubt, is this: the charges do not match the reality. Racketeering? How? Where is the enterprise? Where is the organized crime structure? Where is the network of illegal operations? It doesn't exist. Trafficking? How? Where is the evidence of cross-border exploitation, coercion or even transportation of unwilling persons? It doesn't exist. Forced labor? How? Where are the factories these women worked at, the sweatshops, the exploitation rings? Have the black enslavers quickly forgotten what forced labor actually was when they forced us to work on their farms for decades with no pay? To now imprison our own with claims of forced labor for simply being in relationships that cost him money and time is like rubbing salt in our already painful wound. It's actually an insult to the descendants of slaves in this country. Where is the proof that R. Kelly forced anyone to work under duress for his profit? It doesn't exist. What does exist are relationships. And relationships, even those that fall apart, even those that end badly, are not crimes. And yet here we are watching as a man sits behind bars. Watching as his freedom is stripped away. Watching as his name is dragged through the mud. Watching as an artist, a father and a human being is made to carry a burden that the law itself does not support. This is not justice. This is not fairness. This is not right. We must be bold enough to ask, what precedent is being set here? If this can happen to R. Kelly, what stops it from happening to any other man tomorrow, including President Trump himself, whose relationship life is equally being reviewed at the moment? What stops a bitter ex, an angry former partner, or a scorned lover from walking into a courtroom and turning personal disappointment into a federal crime? Is that the future we want? A future where breakups are criminal. A future where every argument in a relationship could one day be twisted into a charge of trafficking, or racketeering, or even forced labor? A future where the government itself joins hands with personal vengeance to destroy lives. We cannot allow this to continue. Because this is bigger than R. Kelly. This is bigger than one man, one case, or one trial. This is about the very foundation of fairness in our justice system. This is about whether the law serves truth or whether it serves power. This is about whether men and women alike can feel safe knowing that when relationships end, as they so often do, they will not find themselves in handcuffs for simply moving on. Jennifer Bonjean made this clear. She stood in that courtroom with courage, with conviction, and with precision. She outlined the facts. She dismantled the false narratives. She showed the judges the truth. And anyone who listened could not deny it. So again I ask, why is R. Kelly still in prison? Why is a man being punished for something that is not a crime? Why is a life being stripped away because of failed relationships? Why are we turning heartache into handcuffs? We cannot stay silent. This is not about excusing mistakes. This is not about pretending relationships don't get messy, complicated, and sometimes painful. This is about recognizing that pain does not equal crime. That regret does not equal guilt. That bitterness does not equal proof. And yet in this case, bitterness has been dressed up as justice. Regret has been painted as law. And punishment has been handed down for something that should never have been considered a crime in the first place. It is time we call this what it is. An injustice. An injustice not only to R. Kelly but to the very idea of fairness. An injustice to every man who dares to love, who dares to trust, who dares to open his heart only to later find that when love turns sour, the cost is not heartbreak but prison bars. So I say to you, do not be fooled. Do not let the headlines dictate your thoughts. Do not let the sound bites deceive you. Go back. Listen to the appeal hearing for yourself. Hear the arguments. Hear the facts. Hear the truth as Jennifer Bonjean laid it out. And then ask yourself with honesty, with integrity, and with courage, why is this man still in prison? The answer is as clear as day. He should not be. And until that truth is recognized, until justice is done, until fairness is restored, we cannot stop speaking. We cannot stop questioning, and we cannot stop demanding what is right. Because justice delayed is justice denied. And right now, justice is being denied. This is not right. This cannot stand. And we must not let it stand. That is all we had for you today on HN What's Your Say? To keep updated whenever we post a new video, subscribe to this channel now. Also remember to hit the bell icon and enable notifications. And feel free to share your opinions with us in the comment section below, and let us know if you would like us to publish your views in our next release. We value all our subscribers' opinions.